Correct. Correct. This is correct. We're back. It's time we continue. This is correct. This is the right play, okay? The right play. Hey, scheduled banned and suspended announcement. I don't know if you saw this. This just got posted. There are no changes to the classic constructed format. Let's go over the entirety of the banned and suspended announcement because it's a good one. It's a good one. First of all, Classic Constructed was fantastic. There are going to be people that probably rightfully so say Iyslander is really good in the format, and they are correct. Iyslander is really good in the format, but you know what? You got to be really good to play it, and yes, the world champion is an Iyslander player, or at least one. I'll put it this way, at least one on Iyslander. But you gotta be really good to play it. Let's take a look at the metagame breakdown. So I know there's gonna be people that probably say that Iyslander is like too good, but look at the breakdown. Fi, Oldhim, Briar, and then Iyslander. Okay, so it wasn't even like in the top 3 of representation. Okay, and I will say this: I think all 4 of these top decks right here, and to a much lesser degree Dash, but all 4 of these top decks have the chance at any moment to just win the tournament. Just win. And that's a good thing. And then Dash does have a chance of sneaking on in there. And look at the drama, just like teetering along. That's kind of fun. But this lion's share really goes to Fi. And then you have your decreasing numbers after that. But Briar put on a great showing. I think there was a lot of people that kind of expected Briar to fall a bit. Yes, Briar's very good. But I think overall finishes wise, Briar really showed out. Hey, so by the way, there were a ton of heroes represented. There were 2 Iyslander, there were 2 Briar, there were 2 Fi, and there was 1 Oldhim and 1 Dromai. I could easily have seen a Dash possibly make it through here, depending on the number of Oldhims that they have to face. I could have seen a Dash come in here. Love the Dromai sneaking in, and it's a cool list as well. That has some aggro pieces, kind of goes that mid-range route, has the capability of just jamming down the good old Tome of Fjendal and drawing a bunch of cards, which is a huge play right now that Dromais are doing if you're playing that mid-range version. And then you look at the day 2 metagame, and Fi continues to represent, but here's where Iyslander kind of sneaks in. So if you're a good Iyslander player, you can prey on some of these decks, especially if they don't know how to kind of go toe-to-toe with Iyslander. And there's going to be people that are like, well, how do you go toe-to-toe with Iyslander? And that in and of itself is a full-on conversation. But this right here is the day 2 breakdown. Briar falling down here, Oldhim being the 3rd most represented after the cut. Going forward. And then there was a large contingent of Bravo showstoppers, and I personally, and this could be wrong, you ask perhaps like the highest level players, but I personally actually think Bravo showstopper is a more annoying matchup for an Iyslander than an Oldhim. I don't know, that's just me. Tell me in the comments below if you agree, and if you're a heavy Iyslander player, I want to know your opinion on this, because I actually do think Bravo showstopper is more annoying from the Icelander's perspective to play into. But what we're looking at is that these numbers are healthy. Fi is very well represented. Iyslander as well, very represented, and I would say has probably a higher conversion, but I'm not doing the numbers off the top of my head. By the way, the calling numbers broke down like this. The top 8, this is kind of crazy. I just want to by the way, this is a calling day 2 metagame cutting in, and this is just super cool. Look at this. I'm blown away, by the way. You need to see who and how this all finished out, because it's kind of crazy. 2 Reinars, 2 Briars, a Lexi, a Fi, a lone Fi, and I almost said Oldhim, an Iyslander, and a Bravo showstopper. This was the top 8. And yes, I believe a Reinar won over the Bravo player, which is kind of crazy. I think Reinar won over Bravo in the finals. Okay, so I'm just going to say they are 100% correct. LSS 100% correct that this metagame does not need to be messed with. It does not need to be touched. It is incredibly good and healthy. Look at this. 5 different heroes in the top 8 of the World Championship. 6 different heroes in the top 8 of the Calling. Based on the diversity of the metagame, the diversity of the performance, we are happy to move forward into the Dynasty season with no changes to Classic Constructed. Now, I will say this, if they did want to make a change to something like an Icelander in particular, taking away Aether Icevein was my thought. If they were going to change anything and like change Icelander, taking away Aether Icevein seems like the easy play. But that takes a lot of power away from Icelander. So maybe you lean more into Bullander even harder than you would before. But it seemed unnecessary, okay? Then you look at Phi and you're like, okay, so maybe taking away a little bit of the Phi power level might be good as well, because Phi just seems like to have it basically however you want it as Phi. You just kind of get your run of it until you run into Icelander. And, you know, there's the natural foil to your deck, I guess. So if you wanted to nerf Phi, then you'd have to sit down and talk about like Belittle Minnowism. Or if you want to be real drastic, then you go Art of War. But none of that was done, because in lieu of keeping this metagame to some degree as stable as it can be going into the supplemental set that is going to be releasing in Dynasty, they decided to make no changes. I think that's fantastic. Now let's talk about the even better. Yes, I'm saying it. It's even better. Even better are the changes to Blitz. Okay, look. These are the changes that should have been made 2 months ago when the last ban and restricted announcement was made. Or was it a month ago? I don't even remember. These are the changes that are correct. I will say it right now. I think these changes are correct. Look, this is the way you combat Icelander who's powerful in the meta. This is how you do it. Stormstriders is not a hard enough hit for Icelander. It's not. Okay, this does almost nothing because Icelander has it so easy playing from the arsenal at instant speed. And I love Icelander. But I also love Kano. And what we basically did by swapping out, by taking away Stormstriders, is we took away Kano. Kano's problem is not being able to Stormstrider something in to finish the game. Kano's problem is that he had access to a 20 health format and Aether Wildfire. That is the problem. And it's been the problem. Period. Okay, so problem, if you want to call it a problem. And honestly, it is. So the least interactive way to lose a game in Flesh and Blood is to get quad intimidated by Rhinar and then take a bunch of damage and be dead. Or to get Aether Wildfired on turn 1 or turn 0, right? Those are the ways that you basically just don't play the game and lose, okay? So if you want to take one of those away, don't remove this card. Remove Aether Wildfire, and LSS did just that. And this is great because now you can play Kano at a high level and do quite well still without having to do the easy route of just finding Aether Wildfire, arsenaling it, waiting until turn 2 or 3 when you have a couple blues in your hand, and winning the game. Okay, it's way more fun as well to play Kano this way, in my opinion, than to play the other way. So this is the move. This is correct. Kano exists, and you know what? Bringing the boots back benefits Icelander in this format, but they did the right balance, and they took away Aether Icevein in a format, again, where you have 20 health and a game format that lasts less turns, period, end of story, than in Classic Constructed. A card that can steal portions of your hand, like Aether Icevein can, is an easy move. Now, you know, for example, if they decided, you know, maybe we bring Aether Icevein back and we pull another card out like Hypothermia, like they did here, for example, that's an easy swap out, because this is not like the end-all be-all, like this wins you the game as Icelander, but what it does do is make everything feel a lot more comfortable. When you find an Aether Icevein and you play it down and you fuse it, you feel as the Icelander player that all of a sudden you're probably winning the game to some degree, or at least you've equalized that game. So taking this away makes it a lot more difficult for Icelander to feel that way and has to play a lot more disruptive. And on top of that, because Icelander is incredibly dominant in this format, you take away Hypothermia as well. And Hypothermia is one of those things that really helps in this format in particular, because it can stop several of the very good aggro go wide decks, okay? And Hypothermia is one of those that you just slam down in the arsenal, you play from the arsenal, and you're winning the game in those matchups. And in the matchups that you don't need it, you just pitch it. You just use it as a 2-block or whatever, you pitch it, okay? So it was a card that was a Swiss Army knife in Blitz, and you take that away, and now Iyslander feels a lot more balanced to some degree. And yet, there's still ways to build Iyslander that are different from this. Yes, you can play the Wounded Bull Iyslander, like Bullander list. You can do that where you push physical attacks as well. In fact, that's like where Iyslander got that archetype from. It was from Blitz. It was a hybrid Iyslander. People were playing like CNCs and what was it? What was the fire breathing? People were playing fire breathing, and people were playing Exude Confidence and E-Strikes. That's where it kind of got its start. Okay, now you can play that way even more, or you can start playing with different sort of, I don't want to call them win conditions, but different pivots on ways that she can attack your hand or disrupt your turn by creating more frostbites with things like Weather Vane. Okay, so all of a sudden you can make Weather Vane Iyslander, and you have some feeling of like, okay, this is not just like an inferior version of Iyslander because I could just be playing Bullander super optimized with Hypothermia's Aether Ice Vane. By the way, some people actually were already cutting Hypothermia's in their lists, which is kind of funny. So like this is correct. This is the right move. And I am so excited because I get to play with these cards again, and they're like in a balanced way. And that's exciting because this is the right way to tackle this entire thing. Kano has consistently been one of the top Blitz decks since the inception of the format. Over that time, as the card pool has grown, we have banned and suspended a number of cards to curb the speed at which Kano can reliably akimbo his combo kills, while allowing him to remain part of the top echelon of heroes within the format. The results from Sam Jose would indicate that Kano without Storm Striders is a step too far, and we would like to see Kano return to the format with the reinstatement of Storm Striders. Yes, exactly. It was a step too far because this is the right move. If you want Kano to be in existence, but you don't want him to be too fast, all of those other moves, like honestly, I will even say this, the suspension or the banning of Snapback, while very good, is almost unnecessary when you take away Aether Wildfire. Almost unnecessary. Like, you don't have access to Aether Wildfire, then you can probably put Snapback in. You could probably consider putting Stir back in, because now you can go Stir Forked, but I would say you don't need to because you're creating Blessing now. Blessing is now a card that you can play, and it encourages you to build the deck in a different way. Plus, Blessing is also going to make Iyslander functional in a different way. So this seems so good to me. And this is what I think, if you're trying to balance Wizard in Blitz, this seems like the right move. So kudos, LSS, crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. And as someone who absolutely loves Wizards, I am so pumped for this, because now this change feels both correct while also giving both heroes playability, as well as allowing people to play this guy in the format because he has access to the best equipment in the game. It just makes sense. Tell me in a comment below, does this not just make sense? It just makes sense. I'm just saying, it just makes sense. By the way, yes, these are sleeves. They are sick. They are amazing. You should get some. They are from Dragon Shield. They sent these over to me, and they are the matte textured back. This is not a sleeves commercial, but I should make a video on these because they look amazing. Look at that. Now I'm the Emperor. Just very blurry. There I am. Looking good. Next scheduled ban and suspended announcement is January 30th. And I'm very interested to see how the Blitz format and the Classic Constructed format change with Dynasty. I think it's going to be really fun. I am so excited. We're like, I don't know, a day and a half away from I know people are super pumped. I bought a bunch of cases because I know people want to do box openings on the channel. So I bought a bunch of cases, and those are arriving on Friday. So we're going to crack open some stuff. and we're gonna sit back and enjoy ourselves. Hey, if you enjoyed this video of me getting very excited, perhaps maybe too excited about changes and like removal of cards that I play in the class that is my favorite, which is kind of weird when you think about it. Hey, make the number go slightly higher to the other number, and then one day that number will cross another threshold that we just deem and see fit to celebrate. As always, thanks for watching.